Good morning, except it's not good morning, it is good afternoon now, and I just finished an exam.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine.
The reason that I was inspired to this video was because I've always wanted to do conspiracy theories. Recently, the king of conspiracy, as we all know, Shane Dawson, has been canceled. I don't really like to use the word canceled because I feel like cancel culture doesn't really do anything. But Shane Dawson, the king of conspiracy, has basically been exposed as a shitty person. So I'm not going to make a video about this because I think another YouTuber, D'Angelo Wallace, did an excellent job talking about this topic, and he kind of exposes Shane Dawson for all he is. So definitely check out his video. Since the king of conspiracy is being cut out, gone, exposed, and bleh, I decided that I'm going to take his position. So today I'm going to be talking about the CIA released documents about the gateway process. I'm on Witch Talk, and I keep seeing all these CIA documents being released, whatever. So I decided to do my research and look into them, and I read the pages for you, so you don't have to. Obviously, I advise you to go and check them out yourselves because you should not always trust everything you hear, and you should always be fact-checking and things like that. But without further ado, I will be getting into the video. So let's just do this. Let's talk about some CIA documents. My skin broke out a lot, so anyways, so I guess I'll be starting off with my eyebrows. No. So I'm gonna start off with my eyebrows. So I guess before we go into talking about the CIA documents and everything, it's important for me to give a quick blurb about manifesting and what manifesting is for those of you who don't know. Basically, manifesting is the idea that what you put out into the universe is what you get back in return. So it's the idea that all of us are vibrating at a specific frequency. And whether that's a low frequency, which is more negative things, versus a high frequency, you are going to attract the same kind of energy and frequency back into your life. But the thing is that we are always vibrating at some kind of frequency all the time. Everything is constantly attracting something. The universe is going to continue introducing things into your life at the frequency that you are vibrating at, even if you don't consciously know that you're manifesting, for example. But essentially, the government proved that manifesting is real in these CIA documents. I actually don't even know what kind of eyeshadow I'm going to do today. I did not think that one through. This might look like shit, so that one's on me. The document was written in 1983. It's titled The Analysis and Assessment of the Gateway Process. So throughout the entire article, the gateway process kind of refers to this whole idea of manifestation and being able to enter this altered state. Is addressed to the commander of the U.S. Army Operations Group in Fort Meade, Maryland. So the document begins by referring to various techniques that allow you to kind of enter these altered states, and that's what I'm going to go through first. Technique 1 refers to Ishak Bentov's, I don't know if I'm saying that right, Ishak Bentov's biomedical engineering model for hypnosis. So the first technique they really get into is the idea of hypnotizing someone and how hypnosis works and how it allows our brain to enter this state where our subconscious is brought to the forefront, basically. The section states how individuals under hypnosis are able to access both sides of their brains at the same time. This allows you to pass information from the left hemisphere to the from the left hemisphere to the right hemisphere. This passing of information allows for enhanced concentration, it allows powers of memory, and it can tap into areas of unused storage capacity. So what this basically means is that it allows us to become consciously aware of what our subconscious self already knows. So when our brain is in this state where it's passing information from one side of our brain to the other at the same time, or allows us to access kind of like both sides at the same time, we're able to start accessing information that we've only previously been able to do when we were in our subconscious state. The second technique is called Transcendental Meditation. The section talks about this idea of Kundalini. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but it derives from Hinduism, and it refers to a divine form of feminine energy. and it is the energy that is believed to lead to spiritual liberation. So what this part talks about is that a lot of people who can enter this state have been meditating pretty intensely for at least 5 years. But in this section, it talks about how they actually figured out a way to, if your brain is tuned into a certain frequency, that you can actually tap into that without all those years of meditation. It actually says that Bentov, the same guy who did the biomedical engineering models for hypnosis, he also stated that an exposure to a mechanical vibration of 4 to 7 hertz can actually create the same effect. And it can achieve similar results, allowing to enter the state of transcendence and this kind of like altered state. It actually provides some examples where our surroundings, our environment have maybe accidentally created this kind of frequency, and our brains slightly enter this other state. And that honestly makes a lot of sense to me. So an example that is provided is the idea that if you're sitting in a car, for example, and there's this repeated combination of how the seat is vibrating, and then the outside of the doors are vibrating, and these like things are moving in the car, and for a repeated long period of time. So if you're sitting in the car for a really long time, you might actually be tuning into this frequency and you're not aware of it. I honestly think this makes total sense, because there will be random moments throughout my day. This doesn't happen every single day, but sometimes where I'll just be sitting there and all of a sudden I feel like I'm waking up, or I'm realizing something, or it's like I'm waking up from this like weird dream, like all of a sudden I'm super tuned into everything that's happening around me. That's one of the techniques that's talking about. So this next technique is known as biofeedback. What biofeedback allows you to do is actually use the left side of your brain to take control and feed the right side of your brain information. The left side of your brain begins to visualize things, and this relates to manifestation, because in manifestation, what you're doing is, when you're consciously doing it, you're visualizing what you want your life to be like. And that's what the left side of the brain does in terms of biofeedback. So what this talks about is that eventually, through biofeedback, you are able to gain control of the left side of your brain, to give it information and to tell the left side of your brain to do things to change your body. For example, if you have a cut somewhere, like being able to send signals to your brain to heal part of your leg faster, or part of your wound faster, things like that, allowing you to basically heal at a faster rate, because you are able to take control of the left side of your brain and tell your brain to do that. Which is freaking, like, what? Like, that's so cool. The way that you tap into the left side of your brain is through auditory and visual feedback, and that allows you to begin to control that part of your brain. After they talked about these different techniques, there's this analogy provided, and it's the idea that our brains normally work like lamps. They're shining light in different areas. We're focusing on a lot of different things, at once. Our brains are kind of thinking about different things all the time. But with manifestation, or with these techniques that they described, you're able to actually turn your brain into more of a laser. Once they talked about how you enter all these different states and these altered states or whatever, they want to talk about what hemisync is. They start to talk about this idea of frequency following response. So if a person hears a sound produced at a frequency that is associated with the human brain by adjusting its brainwave output. So basically, our brain is always sending out frequencies. We are constantly tuning into frequencies, and we are always sending them out. So this means that if you're constantly sending out negative frequencies, you're also going to be attracting those frequencies, because our brains, what they want to do naturally is to mimic the waves and the frequency that is coming towards them. If you're sending out a negative frequency, you're going to attract that frequency back, and then our brain mimics that frequency and sends it out again. It's like just this constant loop that you're always sending out whatever you're thinking of. So if you're sending out negative frequencies, you're going to get those in return, and then it's just this whole loop. And that's why meditation and stuff like that, and the law of attraction, it takes time. It takes time to break that loop, and for you to start bringing positive things back into your life. On the other hand, when you start to vibrate at a higher frequency, it becomes easier and easier and easier for you to keep vibrating at that higher frequency, because that's what your brain is used to. It's used to have vibrating at that higher frequency, so it's going to do it much more naturally, and the whole process is going to be much easier. What the paper goes on to do is talk about what eventually starts to happen is that if we're emulating at a high frequency for a long time, our heart will start to mimic that rhythm. So this is known as bifurcation echo. And if someone practices meditation for years, they can eventually reach this state. If your heart is vibrating at a high frequency, cheers to you, because honestly that is literally the ultimate power move against the universe. And it is going to attract anything you want into your life. Like, you can literally attract anything you want once your heart has reached that state. So kind of wrapping up the video, I'm just going to talk about one more thing that was mentioned in this first part of the paper. And it talks about how significant of an impact the environment has on your ability to vibrate at a higher energy level, or your ability to have a high frequency and everything. And I took this as two different ways. So basically, our body's energy field is related to our surrounding environment. That's what it says. And this can mean several things. So if we surround ourselves with negative people, we are also going to be tuning into that negative frequency, and our brain is going to take that in, and then we're going to start emulating that negative frequency. So first lesson, surround yourself with people that are also vibrating at a high energy level and at a high frequency, because our brain is going to tune into that high frequency, and it's also going to respond with a high frequency back into the universe. Another thing, on a more literal level, this means that we have to be physically in tune with the earth. So there's this concept referred to as grounding, which is when you go outside and you physically are connected to the earth. So whether that is your hand touching the floor or walking barefoot, when you are grounding, what you're doing is you're allowing the energy within the earth to enter your body. You're impacted by your environment. Your frequency, your brain is constantly sending out frequency waves, different frequencies, and it's mimicking other frequencies. You're able to enter altered states of mind, spiritual liberation, everything. It's all connected. And the effing government is saying it. So obviously, don't believe everything you read, but it's being backed by other things now. So I obviously did not want this video to be super long, so I stopped here, but I've literally only probably covered a third of the information that's in there. So if you want me to make another video on this topic, or if you want me to talk about this more, I would gladly do it. It's something I'm super passionate about. So yeah, I'm going to cite everything in the description box below. Make sure to subscribe if you want, I guess. My skin looks like trash, and I don't want to put foundation on it, so I didn't really do that. I kind of just did my eye makeup. But yeah, so this is definitely something that I'm super interested in. Let me know if you find anything else out, if you find more information, or if I misinterpret something. Always question what you read. Don't just take my word for it. Do your thinking on your own. Critically think through everything that you read. But yeah, that's all I have for today. And my eyeliner is already flaking off, so peace out.